Right, here we go. This is a first. Carl, we're at the Dream Team launch.
Live event.
Courtesy of the RFL. How excited are you? Scale of 1 to 10?
Mate, it's a 10, 100% 10 this is. Yeah, I feel privileged to be here. I'm excited to speak to some of the players. It's been a great season and looking ahead to the playoffs now. It's the end of the season is great.
I could see I play out. Y'all boys gon' lose it, ain't no doubt. Can't use my name for no more clout. If y'all wanna win, just follow my route. Shorty rolling, shorty tryna get it rolling. Young and grinding, you gon' get it. Put them peas up in the stoley. You gon' drive 1,000 miles till his pockets keep.
Rugby league was never an option. No. I never ever thought I'd play rugby league. You know, I'd be welcome crashing down. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So that's all I'd known. You know, for it all to just stop like that, it was like, what do you do? So.
And when I first turned up, I weren't in the first team plans. You know, I was in and out of the reserves, trying to force my way in. So I probably lit a fire in my belly.
It's such an honour, you know. I was fortunate enough to make it myself on 3 occasions. I wasn't going to bring that up out of 4, but I've told Lucky that. But
great names in this room right now, so to be a part of it, it's a real special feeling.
It's just fun really with a group of mates. Like I can imagine other teams, but when it's time to work, we'll work.
To be part of a Super League Dream Team, you know, there's quality players right across the competition, and to get it, you know, I'm really proud. You know, personally, it's a real honour to be here today, and just really proud of myself.
Yeah, so let's just talk to you a little bit about what the show's going to be about. So obviously we've got the usual Rugby League outsiders banter that's going to be coming your way. We're going to throw a few of
Not by you.
the players in there as well. We're going to basically try and grab as many people as we can to talk to and just get a bit of a feel about what it means to be in the Dream Team and also a little bit of depth to it. So that's what we're going to be doing today.
Well, you forgot to say we're going to be looking at our Dream Team versus the actual Dream Team and seeing where we actually landed with it.
Yeah, because we did pick a few
Rebel
people that were
Dream Team,
nowhere
yeah.
near, didn't we? But I mean, half of what we picked was right, Carl.
Some people agreed with us.
No, quite a few people.
Yeah.
Even conversations now around the room, you know, people are kind of agreeing with our selection. But the big dogs have obviously chosen a couple of other players, so hopefully we're going to chat to some of those a little bit later on as well. And we're also, at the back end of the show, we're going to look at our predictions for the playoffs that's coming up. Carl, who are you really excited to talk to? You're hoping that we can actually get a chat with today?
Mr. Jake Connor, I think. He's top of my list. To be honest with you, 1 to 13, they're all superstars out there. Superstars of the game. So I haven't really bothered who we speak to, but I'd like to speak to Jake Connor just because he has basically had probably his best ever season. I think arguably his best ever season. He's been instrumental in everything that Leeds have done this year. So if we can get Jake, that'd be a win. But like I say, 1 to 13, there's some great names on this Dream Team list.
Well, there is some great names, and around great players, you've got to have great coaches, and all the coaches that are in the playoff teams right now are here. Any of those that you're really excited to speak to?
Any of them, mate.
Well, each one has played a blinder, haven't they?
Yes.
In one form or another.
Yeah,
so, yeah. I mean, they're all kicking around the room now, which is really exciting. I think the only person I haven't seen is Paul Wellens. Have you seen him yet?
No, I haven't seen Paul Wellens. Brad Arthur's to my right. He's intimidating me a little bit. So
he never smiles.
We might wait for that one a little bit. Like Darryl Powell's here. You know, it's great to see him here with the season that Wakefield have had.
Well, we've a good chance of talking to Darryl Powell we've got a mole, haven't we, in Wakey?
Oh yeah.
So hopefully our mole will set us up.
I'd say he's a secret mole, but there's.
Yeah, everybody knows. Everybody knows.
Yeah.
But one of the things we can kick off talking about is actually Wakey securing that place into the playoffs, because it was touch and go, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? And what an exciting last round that we had in Super League. It was just unpredictable, wasn't it? Right up until the last minute. But you know, Hull FC struggled, didn't they, on the last game of the season? So Wakefield made it, yeah.
Yeah, and a justified place there. You know, although it was touch and go, it's because both teams are really competitive and have been throughout the season. So it was an exciting finish to that 5th, 6th, 7th place.
And I think you say you got to deserve it, and not just with what Wakefield have done on the pitch. It's what they've built around the pitch. It's the whole club, isn't it? Everything's going in the right direction, and that's from the marketing to the media team that are arguably the best media team in the league at the minute. You've got Darryl Powell's just created this awesome team that built on a championship season last year. Matt Ellis has got the fans fired up, and it's just it's a great story, is Wakefield, and it's nice that they've made the 6.
Right, into 5th place then obviously Saints. So, you know, Saints, the tale of their obviously season is A bit of a slow start. I think they would agree with that, and then obviously picked it up towards the end of the season and kind of found a peak. I think they found a level, 5th place, but they're still in the playoffs now, and who knows?
Yeah, it's a weird one with Saints, isn't it? And there's always that saying, they're never right off the Saints. And I've got mixed feelings about St Helens. They sort of started this season not very well. Then they had a patch where they were just winning and winning. They got better and better. I think even we're guilty of maybe hyping them up at that part of the season. Just before we were getting into the final 5 rounds, we was like, okay, St Helens are here now. They've arrived, really putting in some great performances. And then they dropped again, didn't they, towards the end, just as we start getting towards the playoffs. And they didn't pick up a win against any of that big 6 towards the end of the season. So I'm not sure how St Helens are going to get on in the playoffs. They're the one team I'm not too sure about.
Well, their first playoff is away to Leeds. Leeds got the home advantage there, and obviously securing that 4th place spot. And your tale of Leeds, Cal?
Leeds have had a great season, I think, much improved from last year. And I think what Brad Arthur's done with his side is they've created a bit of steel about them, haven't they? They didn't really have, they've got a bit of backbone about them now of Leeds. They didn't have last year. Great season for Leeds. They're another team who've sort of been pretty hot going into the playoffs. I don't think you read too much into last week against Wigan. I think they rested some players, didn't they?
Well, they certainly played a weakened side.
It was a weakened side. I don't think they wanted to show their hand too much. So I Leeds are one of the form teams for me going into the playoffs.
Okay, 3rd place was secured by Leigh eventually. Leigh doing a lot of good stuff. We've reported on them a lot this season. And 3rd place, I think they're really excited. That best finish ever for those.
And who would want to play Leigh at the minute?
You're right.
I mean, every time I mention Leigh, I always talk about the fireworks and the pyro party and all the rest of it. But actually, that is a big part of Leigh's identity now. And I think that's what makes them so formidable at home. So Wakefield have got to play Leigh at Leigh, haven't they, this week? It's going to be a difficult occasion, but 2 exciting teams. Can't wait to watch them. Okay,
into the top 2 then. Obviously we've got Wigan sitting in 2nd place, and then Hull KR secured that League Leaders Shield. I thought, is it ever going to happen? But they finally got it, and there's scenes of the team walking around with the shield. I wonder if they've got it here today. It'd be a nice little touch if they did, antagonise some of the other teams perhaps. But
they left people waiting, didn't they?
They did.
That last game of the season, I think what I saw with Hull KR, there was just a lot of nerves there, and I thought maybe they'd have got that off the back, after the Challenge Cup win earlier on in the season, but the nerves were definitely there on that last game of the season. Yeah, and the party nearly got spoiled, didn't it?
It did. I mean, we're going to hopefully talk to some people at Leigh today and just get a bit of a feel for what is actually going on, in the culture there, because
Hull KR,
sorry, we've been talking about them redlining more or less every week. They've had a couple of blips. You'd argue that the Challenge Cup final was one of those periods where they just didn't look like the Hull KR that we're used to. And then obviously in recent times as well. So hopefully they're gonna keep that going throughout the whole of the playoffs.
But over the season, they have been the best team over the season. Pretty dangerous every time they take to the field. I've just sensed a little bit of nerves with Hull KR at the minute. On the other hand, I'll talk about Wigan, who finished second. I think they had their blip earlier on in the season, and I kept saying to you, didn't I, all year, wait till we get to the playoffs, Wigan will be red hot.
Yeah.
And I feel like Wigan are kind of the form team now going into the playoffs, and they're dangerous, mate.
Well, I saw a little clip of Danny Maguire basically saying, everybody's worried about Wigan, and I think that sums it up. That sums it up really well. I think if you pick up Wigan in the semis. Any of these teams, you've got your work cut out.
Well, it's like I said to you about Hull KR. I felt like Hull KR were a bit nervous playing the last game of the season before they lifted the trophy. I feel like Wigan are the opposite. I feel like when all the pressure's on Wigan, that's when they produce their best rugby. I think I don't know, it's something in the culture around the Wigan club, I think.
But they're just used to it. They know how to win. They know how to put big teams together. They know how to put big games together.
Yeah.
And now it's the big game end of the season. So really excited for this. Carl, any little comments before we head into the main part of the show?
I just wanted to ask you, the two Wigan and Hull KR week off. Think that's going to play an advantage for them, or because there's two ideas, isn't there, going into the playoffs?
You could debate it. Now we know.
What would you want to do?
Right. Okay.
Right. I'll put you in charge of OKR for a week.
Oh, nice. Thanks. Thank you very much. What would I like to do? Do you know? I don't know. Probably 12, 18 months ago, I'd have said, right, rest my players, have a good couple of training sessions, together under our belt, concentrate on who the likely teams are going to be, you know what I mean, and how they play. However, comments from Matt Pete, probably about 12 months ago, and he was kind of saying, some of my players don't like to be rested.
Yeah.
And that really opened my eyes up, because I was thinking, but you've almost got to look at the stars in your side and look at who actually performs best after a rest, or is perhaps carried a niggle and needs a rest, and needs to be protected for himself, or needs to freshen up or whatever, and who needs to keep the foot down, because if they have a break, it's a little bit like Michael Lewis's kick in the Challenge Cup final, innit? You know what I mean? Where he's like, I'm not practicing all week. I'm not practicing. Now, logic says to you, practice. Keep going. Just keep practicing. And imagining this event where you've got to kick this winning goal. And he's like, no, I'm better when I just like go for it.
Well, you got to look at Penrith in the NRL at the minute. So Penrith just scraped the playoffs this year. They had a dreadful start to the season. Scraped the playoffs. Rested players the week before the playoffs started, and now they're not getting a rest now in the NRL playoffs. They've had to play every round, where some of the teams are coming up against have actually had a week off. They're winning. They're in the semi-final this week against Brisbane, and no one's going to back against Penrith now. And they've just not had that break that some of these other teams have had that they're coming up against.
Right, so we're going to have a little break there. We've actually got the announcement for the Dream Team coming up. We're going to get a couple of clips and stick them in. And then when we come back, we're going to look at our Dream Team compared to the actual Dream Team. The Dream Team itself, Carl, I mean, this is...
The Rebel Dream Team.
This is a moment that every rugby league fan looks forward to throughout the season, innit? You know what I mean? It don't mean a great deal to the fan, but it's something we like to see.
No, I think it does mean something to the fan, and I think the fact that they keep sticking with it year on, year out, and it holds a bit more weight every year. Whereas I think first couple of years they did it, I don't think people paid that much attention to it. It's one of these things that we've got right in rugby league, where we stuck at it and we keep going year on, year out. I'm going to throw some out here though. In the NFL,
right.
They basically pick two dream teams. So they have two divisions in NFL. They have the AFC and the NFC.
Right.
Call it Yorkshire, Lancashire, and they pick the best Yorkshire players, the best Lancashire players, and they have a game in Hawaii. Do you think we should have like a dream team matchup?
A dream team matchup in Blackpool.
Yeah. They actually have it at the start of the season. They use it at the start of the season to promote the season. Or is that just madness?
In theory,
is it just too many games?
No. In theory, amazing event, and who wouldn't want to go and watch that, right? But in practice, with the internationals, the fact that they've got a short off season and a long pre-season, I don't know how many players would be up for that. Now, maybe if it was like a charity 7-4-5 match or whatever, whatever that thing is, that might work. I mean, something. I don't know. Oh, what about Super League Dream Team versus Rugby Union Dream Team?
But Super League Dream Team was a battering, mate, weren't they?
Yeah.
Do you know what else they do on the NFL though? They have like all the skills tests that week. So like the best players, they have like a sprint race, and they have like a throwing challenge,
good idea.
And all sorts. That they throw all that in at the start of the season on this like weekend where they all go to Hawaii, probably for a piss up after, which.
And rightly so. I'll tell you something else they do in NFL as well.
What?
Wear frickin' helmets. Let's move on. Okay, right, we're going to take a couple of minutes. We're going to talk to Peter Hutton, who sits on the RFL commercial board. Now, RF commercial, hot topic right now. Peter, talk to us about your introduction, how long you've been on the board, what is your role, and am I right in believing you're not rugby league through and through? Well, you might be now, but you haven't been in the past.
I'm very much rugby league through and through. Grew up in Leeds. My dad was a big rugby league fan. My granddad was a big rugby league fan. And I was lucky enough to sort of work with the sport properly. From 16 onwards, I started commentating on local radio, on Pennine Radio, Radio Air, all that sort of stuff. Then moved to Sky and met Nev Smith, who became the director at Sky in the car park. And he was like, "You're not a rugby league fan, are you?" And I am. So as a result, got involved in the early days of Sky broadcast and used to do the touchline stuff, presented the Ashes tour in like 92, and was part of that whole process then. Then to give you my whole life story.
Go for it.
Then moved away to live in India in '94 and basically worked in television all over the world, ran different sports channels, but always stayed a league fan. And then got asked a couple of years ago, look, would you like to get back involved on the board? And I said, look, I'm not ideal. I live in California. I'm not really on your doorstep, but I would love to do anything with rugby league. So as a result, that's why I'm back involved in rugby league commercial.
So what's been there's been a lot of challenges this year, especially with what's been going on with the governing body. But what's the biggest challenge you've had to face this year? I don't mean to get into the politics side of it. I think talking about that, the promotion and stuff like that.
I think the real challenge is just unlocking the value of the sport, because we've got such a great product. There are so many things that are going in the right direction, particularly when you look at the digital reach, when you look at the TV viewing figures, when you look at the sponsors coming in. That's actually a really positive story. But it's in the nature of the sport that we're always pretty self-critical, and trying to remain having that context of actually we're in somewhere that's going in a good place. I think that's the biggest challenge.
If you were to pick out 3 big wins from RFL commercial this year, what would you say they are?
I think first of all you look at the sponsor revenue. Sponsor revenue is healthily up, your TV viewing figures are healthily up, and then on digital I think we've made real progress. And I think we don't necessarily tell our story strong enough. You look at our figures on YouTube, you look at the revenue that's now coming out of YouTube, you look at Super League Plus and the increased number of subscribers around the world. I think those are great stories. As a fan who now lives in California, to be able to watch every game live on Super League Plus is just massive. And while there might not be millions of us out there, for the ones that do care about the sport, that just means such a lot to us on a weekly basis to be able to see every game.
Peter, obviously broadcast deals up for negotiation and whatnot. Do you think we'll ever get to a point where possibly we are just running our own YouTube channel and that could be the way to go in the future?
Look, I think broadcasting generally worldwide is a fascinating space where pay TV is clearly plateauing in a lot of parts of the world, so you can't rely on automatic increases, and therefore you have to think, how do I touch every potential part of my audience? And you have to accept that there are young people coming through that are not going to be pay TV subscribers. So therefore you need things like Rugby League Outsiders, you need things like having the league's own YouTube presence, because otherwise you're going to ignore an audience that you need to cultivate. And the key challenge for any sports organisation is, how do you make people care more? And you make people care more by presenting stories on the platforms that they use for consumption. Just
on a personal level now, you mentioned Leeds. Have you enjoyed watching the Leeds team of this season?
Oh, it's been great to see that story come together, and the progress we've made has been brilliant. I say we, I'm not really a we, but as a Leeds fan, and the frustration of seeing that game against Catalan the other week, when you think we've turned the corner, we're all set, we're going to get a third, we're going to get a home Friday night spot, and then it falls apart. But that's the nature of the business, right? In that there's always, when you think you're there, there's always something to cut it away from you.
Peter, we're at the Dream Team event today. Who are the team responsible for picking the Dream Team? Or is it secret?
That's a secret, and certainly not one that I'm privy to, because otherwise they'll be laid out and said, okay, it's your fault that this person got that slot or not. The good thing is I can confidently say it's not me. And therefore, it's clearly not my fault.
Sometimes it's hard to see progress in a sport or in anything until you look back. Please just cast your mind back to 1994 when you headed off to India and compare the sport now to where it was back then. Just on the precipice of Super League kicking off, I believe, at that time.
I mean, first of all, you go from just the occasional game on TV, which is a big occasion when you got a game on TV, to having every game on TV. I think people ignore how much progress that indeed is, because you care about a team, you don't necessarily care about every match. So to have every game of your team available, I think, is a huge step forward. But you look at the grounds, you look at the crowds, they're actually in a much healthier place than they were back in those days. You look at, I'll pick out Leeds as the example, but Leeds through the 80s and early 90s was not a great story. And what Gary and Kath Hetherington did and turned it around, that's remarkable, and a real positive story. But you look at that in a more recent basis, and what Wakefield Trinity have done, what Derek's done at Lee, what Hull KR and Hull have done in the last few years, what great stories they all are. And sometimes, again, we don't take credit for the progress the game has made. And it's made it because it is a great game that people enjoy, that's so intense. And we don't necessarily tell that story enough.
Yeah. We talk about stars of the game all the time. I know the RFL commercial always try to build up stars of the game. So looking at the dream team this year, who's been your most exciting player to watch this year?
Oh, look, at the risk of annoying people, I love watching Mikey Lewis, and I love him for all the different reasons, in that he's got that quality. But I love the attitude, the fact he stands out from the crowd, that there's an edge to him, and we need heroes and we need anti-heroes.
Yes.
Because they're at the core of your story. And, so I think the idea that we need to promote our players is clearly almost obvious. I think one of the things that we need to do digitally is give them the footage, give them the opportunities to push out their own stories, because you don't want to follow a rugby league account necessarily. You want to follow people with personality.
Yeah.
And therefore, whether that be influencers, whether it be your own business or whether it be players, it's trying to fuel people like that, give them the experiences and the ability to tell stories with unique access. I saw what you guys did at Wembley. That was a brilliant example of saying what it's like to be a fan and telling a story that felt emotional because it was personal.
Yeah. Just talking about stories, we've got a story that is emerging, let's say, and that's down in London. And I'd love to get your opinion on, well, not your opinion, but how excited are you about Lockyer and the group coming in and taking over London? Jason Demetriou coming in to coach that side. You're excited about that?
I am. It's a great story. We just got to make sure that we use it right? And you've seen so many people over the years. And I go all the way back to the original sort of Widnes expats going to London and setting up the team in the 80s. There's been so many sort of influxes of energy that we need to make sure that this is important strategically for the game and we help it grow. And whether that's a position in the expanded Super League or whether that's just a route map towards getting it going forward, it's clearly an opportunity for the game. And if people come in with energy, ideas and financial support, then we've got to encourage that and try and make sure it works for the greater good of the game.
Yeah. Have you got any more? I've got one more question.
Go on. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so obviously you're out in California, Vegas next year. Leeds are there as well. I mean, the stars are aligning for you, aren't they?
I mean, to get a game on my own doorstep is fantastic. But, that Vegas experience is brilliant, right? And I've been every time. And it's even better this year because Leeds are going. But the idea that it's a focal point for people and you're like, okay, I can build a holiday around it, I can build a Vegas experience to it, and rugby league is central. One of the great things about Vegas in that week is you've got all week of people in club shirts walking up and down the main boulevard in Vegas, and we're all greeting each other like long lost friends. But you've also got all these Americans going, well, who the hell are these people?
Yeah.
And that's great.
I couldn't get over the fact how many rugby league shirts there were. I honestly, as I went last year, I thought rugby league's probably going to make that much of a dent on Vegas because there's so much going on. And when I got there, I couldn't believe it. It took over the city, didn't it? Every aspect of the city. It was unbelievable.
And that idea that you're seeing yourself reflected back at you in a place like that is brilliant. And a lot of people talk about, well, what does Vegas do going forward? And I compare it a bit to like Hong Kong Sevens rugby, where every expat in Asia used to fly to Hong Kong for that weekend for Hong Kong Sevens. Didn't necessarily mean that they had a team or they had a personal sort of dog in the fight. But I think if Vegas can be that and gather huge amounts of people together for a rugby league experience, that in itself is enough for a win. And maybe it can spin off into other things, but just the idea that we establish a weekend on the rugby league calendar where people from all over the world fly to one location, that in itself is a great story.
Right, the final thing then, let me put this respectfully. So there'll be a lot of fans out there that have a thirst for information from RFL Commercial right now. What would your message to those fans be?
I think, first of all, a little bit of patience in that, some of the decisions are not easy decisions, like 13th, 14th being a good example, and that it's important that we release the information when it's right to be released and we don't drip feed bad information. What I think Rugby League Commercial is getting better and better at is telling some of the success stories, and you see some of the stuff that's come out around TV viewing figures and digital viewing figures. There's a great head of marketing in Joe Steele that's done a great job around the England-Australia series, and I think you'll see more of that in the weeks to come. So it's a frustrating conversation, right, in many ways, because you want more to come out that's a positive story, and we have got a positive story. We just need to get the right way of doing it, and also try and bring people behind it to say, actually, let's celebrate our successes. You know, there's a desire sometimes for a magic wand in rugby league, where you're like, okay, if we do this, it'll all be solved. That's not the reality. You know, I worked with David Stern when he was at the NBA, and he used to say the achievement of a sports organisation is the relentless execution of detail. And that's what the league and what Rugby League Commercial have to do. So it is slow progress sometimes, but we are going in the right direction. The figures prove that we're going in the right direction, and everyone just needs to come behind that as a story.
Brilliant, Peter. Thanks for that. And thanks for taking a bit of time out to speak to us.
Really good to meet you.
Cheers. Thank you. Cheers. Section 2 of the show. Obviously, we said we were going to review our Super League Dream Team compared to the actual Super League Dream Team. You know, the real one.
Yeah.
You could argue which ones are real, which ones are not, you know, but we'll go with it for today. Right, we kicked off and we had Lockie Miller at fullback. Obviously, you know, the powers that be have selected Jay Field. So arguments for and against.
Well, I said to you when we picked our side, I thought Jay Field was right up there, and it was a toss of a coin who got it. Anyway, I like what Lockie Miller did this year. I just thought it was entertaining, but Jay Field's been there, done it, got the t-shirt. How many times has he been in the Dream Team? He's been in it loads of times, hasn't he?
I think it's been a bit of a spell whilst he's not been in it. But I mean, I'm hoping we can get a chat with him today, because I just want to know more about not only his pace. We know him for his pace, but just his skill and evasion. You know, and he did talk a little bit about, you know, that Bevan French pass that never was, and you could have just lined him up as the leading try scorer there, couldn't it? So
that it clearly hurts him, that, doesn't it?
Well, a little bit. They've obviously bantered about it, haven't they?
Yeah.
If you could banter about something like that.
You would expose most players who are media trained, they just kind of go, oh yeah, I'm not really fussed about that. No, he there's such a competitive spirit in him. He wanted that top try scorer.
Well, like I said, hopefully we'll get to talk to Jay a little bit later on. Moving on then, on the wings, we had Lewis Martin for and against.
Lewis Martin is 100% deserving of a Dream Team place this year.
Yeah, well, I mean, leading try scorer, you know, really, really young, got years and ahead of it. Big, isn't he? He's big.
He's massive, mate.
You know, he is a big lad, and obviously an athlete.
I mean, first of all, congratulations for making the Dream Team, well, and being top try scorer this year. Did you think that could possibly happen at the start of the season?
Definitely not. Obviously, especially from last season, you know, we probably want a great year, and you know, coming into this season, you know, I probably just wanted to solidify myself in the league, you know, and get a bit more exposure, you know, in a pretty decent team. You know, now to be here at the Dream Team and top try scorer. So it's crazy. So.
I'd like to touch back on last year, actually, because you know, the difference between last year and this year is just enormous. The turnaround that Hull has had. What do you put it down to? Or I imagine there's a number of factors going there. Yeah,
probably the biggest ones, you know, the coaching staff and the recruitment. Obviously, we've got quite a lot of good older lads, you know, with a lot of experience, probably natural young boys. So I think that helps quite a lot, and I think it showed on the pitch as well. You know, especially those young boys like me, Harvey, Davey, kind of come through this year. So yeah, you know, it's exciting for the future, and yeah, it's good.
I just wondered, obviously, John Cartwright coming as the head coach there. Now he seems to live like on the edge, like he's almost like Hull through and through. You know what I mean? Although he's not. Do you feel that from him? Is he really invested in this club?
Oh, massively. I think he's invested in rugby. You know, Hull, the club. You know, the fans, us boys as a team. You know, he lives and breathes rugby, and you know, I think it reflects on us lads as well. You know, because we want to play for him. You know, we want to work hard from on pitch. So, you know, I had a better coach, and you know, I love working with him. So it's good.
What's it like though?
Here we go. Negotiating the contract.
We've had a lot of. How should I say, standard media trained answers there, like from a lot of players this year. What's he properly like? You know, is there been a moment in that change room this year you've kind of gone, bloody hell?
No, we've had some funny moments with him. You know, he's just a funny guy. You know, his mentality, he's got his boys going off geese mentality, so he's got us going on as geese. You know, as in a pack and in formation. You know, he's got like the geese rules of rule 1. You know, sticking together. Rule 2, never leave a man behind. So we kind of took it as a joke, but we've all bought into it, and you know, it's a bit of a running joke, but you know, he believes in it, and you know, we all do as well. But yeah, he's a class guy, and you know, I think it shows. Well, a couple of the fan karty cams we've done on socials and stuff like that. Oh, it's fun to watch after.
The geese mentality.
Geese mentality. Yeah.
It's like Mighty Ducks, but
Lewis, can I just take you back to playing football?
Yeah.
And then obviously you was. Am I right in thinking you was released from Hull City?
Yeah, I was, yeah.
Like, what was going on in your mind there? Do you think sport was done for you, or did you know you had a bit of a backup in rugby league? Like, what was going on personally?
Rugby league was never an option.
No?
I never ever thought I'd play rugby league. You know.
Why? Because you loved football that much?
It's all I've ever done.
Right.
You know, from probably as young as I can remember, I've only played football. You know, my dad was football mad, and I only aspired to be a footballer. And obviously, I was in the academy from when I was 7 all the way to 8 years old till 15, and when I got released, you know, probably my welcome crashing down. I didn't know what to do with myself. That's all I'd known. You know, I'd train 4 times a week and play on a weekend, so it were intense. And you know, for it all to just stop like that, it was like, what do you do? So yeah, to think I'm here at Dream Team speaking to you two. You know,
so how did that come about then? How did the rugby league come about?
So Matty Faulkner, who worked at LFC at the time, I think he did like the recruitment for young boys, you know, from transition from amateur to like scholarship. He knew of me somehow and said, do you fancy giving it a go? So I was like, well, obviously I just got released. I was like, why not? I got out to lose. So I went into FC scholarship without playing a game of rugby, which was pretty daunting.
That's crazy, isn't it?
So obviously you had everyone, you know, the best lads in the at the time, 15, 16. They were just this dangly young curly-haired kid on wing. Just I didn't know what to do. Yeah, I didn't know rules. So yeah, it was daunting at the start, but I just thought, give it a good crack. Mum and Dad said, just give it a go. You know, what was the worst that could happen?
Has that been your mantra? Like, you know, just.
Well, yeah. Like obviously, what did I have to lose? You know, I just got released, and you know, why not? That's what Mum and Dad said. Like, I didn't really want to go at first because I was not scared, but obviously, I thought I just
felt like an imposter.
Yeah, I thought I just looked a fool. Everyone was like, not an outsider, but see, I didn't know rules at game. I weren't even good, to be honest. I probably one of the worst ones there, but you know, Matty and the coach were just like, just give it a crack. Like, you got nothing to lose. So. Yeah,
well, I mean, one of the things that's obviously stood you in good stead is your pace.
Yeah.
You know, in a foot race between you and Harvey, like who takes the really?
Yeah.
Straight answer. I didn't even wait for that one.
Me,
quickest in the squad, you reckon?
Yeah.
Who do you take the most lessons from? You know, you've got some real experienced players. Zach Hardacre is one that springs to mind.
Massively,
you know, massively. Who do you take lessons from?
You know, I think there's been a few this year. Obviously, Tommy Briscoe.
Probably.
You know, he's done everything in the game, and you know, he's got tons of things he can help me with. Obviously, John Rapana this year was massive. Obviously, with his experience, he helped me in
Did you understand quite the gravity of this player coming to? No.
People say, I've had a couple of questions today about like rugby league idols or who did I watch? I don't know. I didn't even know who Raps was until we signed him. Do you know what I mean? So I'm a bit of a novice in like history and rugby and stuff like that, but obviously I knew he'd played back home in Australia, and he's done everything. So
my weird question for the day. Are you ready for this one, Craig? When we did a stadium tour, he still had Canberra Raiders pants.
Yeah.
At any point has he changed them to Hull FC pants, or is he still wearing them?
No, he's got a pair of FC ones, but he still wears the Canberra ones. And, you know, he lives and breathes Canberra. So
there's the question you weren't expecting today.
Yeah, no, I was not expecting that.
Right, last question.
Yeah.
We've been to Hull and we've seen the ferocity between the two sets of fans. But what is it truly like, game week or the Hull derby? If you can put it into words.
It's crazy. You know, I'm an East Hull lad, so all my mates are Rovers fans, season pass holders. Half my family's Rovers.
Oh man!
I know. So you can imagine what that could be like. And obviously the build-up's huge. You know, it does literally split the town, and on the day of the game is crazy. You know, especially when you go to Rovers and you're walking in, and even when you go out, the East stand's full, and obviously I can't say some words that you get called, but
I get it.
It's intense, and I think it showed in last derby. You know, I think it was 80 minutes of those lads just knocking 10 bells out of each other, but yeah, I love it. It's the best game of the year for me. It's great.
Lewis, can I just ask you, obviously renowned for scoring tries, right? You're leading try scorer in the Super League this year. Who or what has allowed you to score those tries for Hull FC this year?
Probably a few boys, a few beers. Probably Aidan Caesar and Davey as well inside me. You know, I think Caesar's been class with me and Davey. You know, our combination's probably been throughout the full season, and you know, he chucked a few good balls over the top to me, so probably earn a few beers when we go away. But yeah, I think me and Davey have grew in a combination. I think it's shown in recent weeks on pitch. So yeah, you know, I'm excited to play with them boys for the next few years, and yeah, hopefully it continues and I get top try scorer next year.
Well, I was going to say, like, what are your targets for next? Because you've literally got this. I've got nothing to lose. That's what you spoke about. Like 2026, you've nothing to lose. So what?
No, I think obviously we want to make the six next year, and I do want to play in big games. I do want to win trophies. I think obviously it's nice getting these individual, you know, awards and stuff like that, but I think as a team, you know, I just try and do my bit, and hopefully that contributes to a trophy later on in the future. So yeah, hopefully a trophy.
Well, best of luck, and well done on getting your spot on the dream team.
Yep. Cheers for joining us.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
See you on TikTok.
Brilliant there. Okay, into the centres then. We had Tess and you know,
putting on a show.
They've gone for Petter Hiku.
Petter Hiku's, I can't say anything bad about it. It's not.
No. I don't expect you.
This team is quality that's been picked. Yeah, Petter Hiku's been influential for Hull, and he's been that rock actually in that team, and defensively as much as in attack. I think he's had a great defensive season. Yeah.
Okay, moving on then. Amila Hanley. Definitely peaked towards the end of the season. You know, he's had a great few weeks of running to.
I think when you look at Lee this year, there were a number of players that could have made the dream team. Amila Hanley's certainly up there as one of them, isn't he? So yeah, there's a whole list of names I could have dropped in from Lee.
Well, we said Jake Wardle. We thought that was a pretty safe bet with him being in the England camp and all that. But you know, I think.
Yeah, Jake Wardle's had a quality season. Like I said to you earlier, in our last show, I think he's one of the first names on the England team sheet. So yeah.
Okay, on the other wing then, Liam Marshall retains his spot on the wing. Just a class act.
Yeah, just scores. You know what you're going to get with him. Put the ball in his hand with 5-10 metres to go, with half a gap, he's going to score.
He's always been a grafter, hasn't he?
Oh,
he's
yeah,
always,
yeah.
You know,
he does the hard work out of back play as well, doesn't he? He's like he's got that, like Ryan Hall does. He's more than prepared to put his hand up, do the hard yards, get stuck in and take a few knocks. Yeah.
Okay, into the halves. You know, we kicking off Jake Connor. We said Jake Connor there, so we got that one right. Hopefully, again, we'll talk to him, and if we do, then we'll stick that clip in now. Jake, you are probably, when I was looked at the dream team, I was like, right, who do I want to talk to? You was the number one guy that I wanted to speak to for lots of different reasons. First of all, massive Leeds fan. Secondly, you're from Halifax, same as me as well. But third, just your performance on the pitch this year has been outstanding. What has? I mean, you've always had sparks of brilliance, haven't you? What has been different this year, do you feel?
Probably Brad Arthur. I've had a really tough pre-season. When I first turned up, I weren't in the first team plans. You know, I was in and out of the reserves, trying to force my way in. So I probably let a fire in my belly to get myself in there, and you know, I probably got in the team on the back of Lockie going down, and then Alfie Elgio going down at the beginning of the season, so I started at full-back. And then got the opportunity in the halves. Obviously I played six before, but I've never took a lead role in a team before, so yeah, I had a lot of adapting to do, a lot of hard work. But he's stuck by my side pretty much all the way. You know, I think a lot of people criticised our attack and stuff at the beginning of the season, but like I said, I never played with Crofty, never played with Lockie, I've never played seven, and so it was always going to be like that. And then it's probably took me till 23, 24 rounds to get that looking like how he wants it to look like, and yeah, it's probably took him that long to stay by my side, but you know, it's paid off.
What's he like Like I've seen Brad Arthur knocking around the room. What is he like as a coach? Is he a hard taskmaster?
Depends what mood he's in. Sometimes he is, but I think he's just got a great balance.
Is he a man manager, or does he treat you all as equals, or?
Yeah, he treats all as equals. Great man manager, but he's a great coach as well. Sometimes in rugby you get a good man manager and not so great coach. I think he's got both. As you can tell with how the team's playing, I think there's no grey areas with him. He's very black and white, so everyone knows their role, everyone knows their job. He demands respect, and the players respect him massively. So, yeah.
Well, one of the things, like as a fan, watching the game, watching the teams, Leeds and a couple of other teams seem to be at a fitness level above some of the other teams. And you mentioned like a hard pre-season. Talk to us about that. Like, are you in the fittest you've ever been, or how would you rank your condition at the minute?
Yeah, I'd say so. But that's also down to the performance staff. I actually turned up to Leeds injured. I'd done an MCL on my left knee, but my right knee's not been in good condition for the last few years. So I think for me that was just getting that right first, because I struggled with swelling on my knee. So tough to get going on them cold mornings in pre-season. So I had a lot of work in the off-season with them to get me in the right condition to do it. But yeah, I'm not the fittest, but I'm the fittest I've ever been, and I think the whole team is one of the fittest teams I've been a part of. So obviously that's a good base, and then putting his coaching in there and the style he likes to play, everyone buying into it. So like I say, he's just had a great balance this year, and everyone's bought into what we want to do.
I want to touch on, I don't know how I'm going to put this across because Craig's probably better at this than me. You've had the most improved season I've seen you play, and you've always had that skill level. But there's been, in other seasons, areas have slightly let you down. I would have said, like, discipline a little bit sometimes. You seem to have matured a lot this year, and I think that's why, from my point of view, it seems to be why you're playing your best rugby. Do you agree? Or am I talking?
I don't know. I feel like I still wind people up, and
yeah, well, we like
probably
that.
Just don't get caught for it. Wiser. But if you had to look at my track record and probably my penalties, I don't really give many penalties away over the years anyway. Probably a bit of back chat here and there. Yeah, I can cop that.
Yeah.
But it's to go with like penalties and stuff like that. Everyone seems to think I give penalties away, and if you actually go from a record, I'd probably give the least away. You'd be surprised how many penalties I don't give away. So you
think you've had a bit of an unfair rap from critics, or?
Yeah, possibly, but that's their opinion. Whatever goes out there, people sometimes believe it anyway. So yeah, that's their problem. I don't really care.
Jake, who's give you the big? I mean, you're renowned for like having winding people up and all that. Who's give you the best comeback where you've just gone, do you know what, I can't. You've done me there. I can't. I always remember you and Luke Gale got mic'd up for a game once. Do you remember that?
Yeah, but I don't want to give Luke Gale the benefit of the
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah. Is there anybody that kind of stands out?
Or
it probably was that Luke Gale one, but don't stream this one.
No, out of other players that you play against, then I know you like to talk on pitch. Who else likes to give it back? Surely Mikey's up there.
But it's a part of his game. That's why he's so good. And people like that get criticised all the time, but if he weren't doing it, he's probably not having the game he's having. So
no, I agree.
And that's always been the argument with me. I like to be right in the mix, and it brings the best out of me. So yeah, he's up there. And obviously, I remember Tony Gigo when he used to play. He gave me a run for my money. Yeah. So yeah, I always remember him. But he was a great player as well.
Can we just go back to Brad Arthur? Does he give you freedom? Does he give you rails to run on? Like, what's his coaching philosophy with you personally?
Give me everything. He's give me the freedom. He's give me the structure. Obviously, I'm the main kicker, so I'm controlling the team. But in other teams, you've got someone like Mark Sneed who looks like a standout 7. I think the way we play, you probably don't need a standout 7. You've just got to play the way he wants to play. With his plan and how he runs it. So I've still got that attacking flair. I can still dip in and out of the unstructured stuff. So like I say, that's a great balance for me to have.
Do you enjoy playing with Brodie?
Yeah, like I say, it took a bit of time for us to get there. It took a bit of time for him to know how I play, and probably a bit of me because I was first receiver. I've never really played first receiver, so I had to adapt the way I play to open more space up for Brodie.
Yeah.
So I think that took a couple of games, and then, like I say, it probably took us into that past 20 rounds where we started to really nail it.
So Leeds, you're pretty red hot at the minute. Start of the season, what were your KPIs? Was it grand final?
It's probably everyone's, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah.
When you first start out, but I think one of ours was just get that home playoff.
Home playoff.
And then see what we can do from there. But as the weeks have gone on, like that's where we've beat everyone apart from Catalan, so we know we can do it. It's just putting that performance in on Saturday.
I wondered how long it'd take for Brodie Croft. You've got a bit of a man crush on Brodie Croft.
Come on, man.
The Super League launch this year, he was like,
you've been telling that story all year.
Share your SoundCloud with me and all that. Just take us to the change rooms at Leeds, ahead of a game. What's kind of going on there? What's the feel?
Pretty mad, really. Everyone likes to do their own things. You got the music pumping. Normally, Harry Newman's dancing in corner somewhere.
With or without his shorts on. He's always got his shorts on when I see the camera.
I can imagine Brad coming in at the change room and everyone's like, stop prattling around.
Jared O'Connor just talking waffle.
Standard.
And you've got a quiet corner where people go to stretch. Or a bit of everything, really. It's a bit of mad, bit of chaos, and then a bit of calmness. So, yeah, good mixture.
This run into the playoff, like you say, you got the home playoff. What's the feel in the camp now? You said you could beat anybody, so what are you doing to make sure you get that win?
Just really nailed down as details the way we want to play. I think the intensity's got to go up another level, and that's why I'm excited this week. I think our pack's been great all year, and I'm excited to see them take that intensity to another level because I know they're so hard to handle, and that'll give me a good platform to play off, so I'm really hoping they do that this week.
Jake, do you like this media kind of stuff, or
no?
Well, do you talking on the pitch?
I've done about 4 interviews this year, which is good for me.
Yeah. Well, thanks for taking a bit of time out and speaking to us. You've had an amazing season from our point of view, so best of luck and congrats on the selection for the Dream Team.
Thank you.
Cheers mate. And then I'll see Michael Lewis, and we kind of suggested Lockie Lamb would pick up that spot there. They've gone for Michael Lewis, which completely understand.
I'd be interested to see what Adrian Lamb says about Lockie Lamb.
Well, hopefully we'll get a chat with him and
there's a
put it on.
There's a few rumours knocking around this room, mate. It's what I've heard.
Yeah, he apparently didn't take kindly to the news, so don't mention it. Right, Adrian, thanks for joining us today, and really excited to talk to you. We've been loving what Lee are doing, not just on the pitch but off the pitch as well. We spent a bit of time there and taking it all in. So you're heading into playoffs now. How do you feel at this point in the year?
Yeah, obviously very excited. It seems like it's a long season, but when you get to September, it feels like it's gone so quickly, Yeah. So we worked really hard to get in that top 3 and a home final, top 4 as a goal at the start of the season. So just proud of the way that the boys have handled themselves. We've a lot of changes at the end of last year. I think 12 changes in the squad, which is just under half of our squad, and it was always going to take a bit of time to find our rhythm, but and we were inconsistent probably for the first half of the season, but I think the difference was that we had players that were coming outside of the 21 that did a job for us as opposed to the last 2 years.
Talk to me about, just because we talked about at the start of the season, you lost obviously so many players. Was this partly down to you wanting to rebuild a new structure, or was a lot of those players, I don't know, they decided they just wanted to move on? Or
yeah, well, I spoke to Derek when I first got the job as head coach, and I talked to him about a 5-year plan on how it would look and the philosophy behind that, and he's been very supportive. He's been unbelievable through all of this, and when we got to the end of last year, part of the plan was to bring some youth in with a couple of other certain things that we're after, and letting go of players like Zach Hardacre and even Ricky Latelli. And even though that's the plan, the philosophy, when it comes to doing it, it's very hard to do when you're connected to him as a person as well, and to make that decision that he needs to go when you know that he could probably get another year out of him. But to stick to the process is hard to do. But we did that. I'm grateful for it now, because I think like Tessie New's been a breath of fresh air.
Yes, class.
Yamila Hanley's done what he's done on that right centre there. So, those decisions were right, along with a few of the others. But the process continues. I think we're probably going to bring another 6 in next year and cut again. So everything's, geared up to head in the right direction. And as a club, I feel that since our promotion up, we've on the right trajectory. I think 5th. And the Challenge Cup win in 23, and the first final loss there. 5th again last year in 24, but the first final win, quarter-final win against Salford, and now 3rd this year. So every year's been one further up the ladder.
Was that one of your KPIs for this year? What, 3rd, 4th? Is that what you said?
The KPI was a home final.
Oh, right.
That was a goal, something we've never achieved before in the Super League era. But,
when
I say that, you talk about ticking boxes, like our chairman, Mike Latham, who's also a historian and just knows everything about everything. Like, I'm getting messages, that's the first time that we've beaten, St Helens home and away for 71 years. You've just beaten the first time we've won at Warrington since 1983. And the list just goes on and on and on. Yeah. So, and they're nice to know, because it just shows that the club hasn't had too much joy in the Super League era, and there's been, a lot of hard work that's gone into that, and they're just the acknowledgements along the way that you don't focus on, but it's nice to know that, that they're doing something right.
Is the dream team something you talk about with your players at the start of the season? Do you just set them targets, or is it just something that's a byproduct of doing well?
No, it's more of an individual thing.
Yeah.
I think I have conversations with them based off what their personalities are, and if they've got this type of personality, it's something that I drive them towards, and that's another conversation. That's another podcast. that I'm a bit weird with that. But I think I get the best out of the players through clear communications on things like this. But I know we've only got one in here today in Yamila Hanley. I felt that we could have probably got 3 or 4.
That was my next question. That was my next point.
I'll approach the elephant in the room. We both thought Lachlan Lamb should have made the.
And Owen Trout as well.
Yeah,
I think
and Owen Trout. Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree.
And Tessie New, we had him down on our little picture. You know what I mean?
That's the 4 that I would have thought it was a genuine chance of making it, and I never begrudge a player that has made the team, but never say you should be in for him, because that's acknowledgement of a consistent season. So well done to everyone that's made this team. It's such an honour. I was fortunate enough to make it myself on 3 occasions. I wasn't going to bring that up out of 4, but I've told Lockie that. But I think. Yeah, I think Owen Trout has been a shining light for Super League, local front rower, second rower.
He plays with his heart on his sleeve, doesn't he?
Yeah, I remember having a conversation with him, and he was in a back row for Huddersfield lower grades, and he came to us and I said, "I think you're a middle, mate." He went, "Oh, Lemmy, I don't really want to play in the middle." I said, "Just trust me, mate. We'll get you there." And I said, and before you know it, you could be in the England team if you do it right. So he's one of those players that we've had that conversation with, and I'm hoping that he can make that squad moving forward. But yeah, unlucky to not be here today. Tessie New as well, so and Lockie Lamb, who's been instrumental with our success this year.
Can I just ask you a question? So, and I'm going to link this to Yamila Hanley now. Obviously, a star and a father, right? Now we could probably translate that to Lockie, and yourself as well. What dynamic does that bring? Does it bring? Do you think it's an expectation of the son to perform at a certain level? Talk to us about that, because it's probably something that we'll never experience.
I think there's pressure on the son to be like his father, without a doubt. And that's okay. That's part of what's in front of you. I think in regards to Yamila, it's a weird story that. I remember making a phone call. So I've had Yamila since he was 15, 16, 17 at Wigan, and loved Yamila there, and gave him his first debut at Wigan there, and then debut, whatever we call it here. And then I left to Lee, and he went out on loan to Newcastle, being a part of Wigan, and then Wigan told him that they didn't want him. So the second that I heard that they didn't want him, I was like, well, I need to sort him out and get him over to us, because I know what he was like. And I made that call on a Saturday, and I remember him crying on the phone saying, I get emotional thinking about it now, because it's just, these are the things that I love most about coaching is, he said to me, "Allow me, I've just bought myself a pair of steel cap boots and I've got a high vis vest on because I'm going on construction site on Monday. My rugby league career is over." Look, I get emotional thinking about it because, and to think that, you know, 18 months ago, just under 2 years ago to this day, that it was going to be all over for him. And the moment that he come to our club, what he's done since that moment has been inspirational. Like, I cannot, there would be no player in Super League that would compete as much as him at training, that would want to win everything and not want to, you know, just the ultimate competitor. And you know, fans don't see this part of the players where if they could rewind it and make a movie, that'd be an inspiration for every young kid that come through. So I'm grateful that he's been nominated and named here, and the hard work that he's done to get to this point is why I love coaching. Moments like this is the highlight of that.
What story?
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, well,
those sliding
So
doors.
I still think he's got those steel caps that he hasn't put on yet, so they'll probably get him for
But it's
20 quid.
those hard moments that define people and create character, and you know, I'm a big believer in that. And you know, I wonder how much he takes that onto the pitch year in, year out, and well, game in, game out, and also the support that you've shown him. You know.
Yeah, I know that, but they're also, you know, some of the actions that he does now, he's grateful for how I've stuck by him, and I think that's part of the man management stuff that we do well at Lee, is that we listen and we understand and support too. You know, like, he's also been a little bit naughty when he was at Wigan when I was there, and he was been a little bit naughty at Lee as well. But we've had deep conversations about it. We got to a point where...
There's a few naked bus stories there, isn't there?
There was one where it was, "Mate, you do this again and it's over for you at Lee." And I'm not afraid to say that, because, again, for any rugby league fan, that you don't have to be perfect, but because everyone makes mistakes, you know. And I think even a lesson for a coach, like, don't, you know, support the person through difficult times, because it comes back to you. Yeah.
Moment of the season this year?
Not happened yet.
Oh.
Not happened yet.
If we're looking at so far, I don't know.
There's been a few times this year where Lee have slipped out of the winning ways.
Yeah.
And we've spoken about it. It was like, not quite sure where they're at again at the minute, and then you're back at it again.
I'll tell you why. It's because when you make so many changes, like the first half of the season was inconsistent.
Yeah.
But I knew that if we stuck to our processes, that they would understand the system, and at some point it would click for us. And I think the difference between this year and last year or the years before is that the players in the squad outside of the 17 and 21, when they were called to come in to fill in and play positions, they got the job done.
Yeah. And
we'd win by 4 or 6 points. Now, if you have a look at our for and against, you know, the top 6 teams are like, you know, is a real big positive, 350, 450, 100 plus. And we're on like 175 because no one's picked it up. But through a difficult time, we were winning by 4 points and 6 points with players that were outside of the 21. And that's what's got us through a difficult time. And then it clicked at some point. So to answer your question, it'd probably be when we beat the top 3-4 teams in a row there in the second half of the season. The second half of the season, out of the 13 games, we've only lost to Leeds and Hull FC. Leeds twice and Hull FC. So 2 teams we've only lost in the last 13 games. So we won 10 out of 13. So that would probably be the highlight of that period of, I think, Wigan, Saints, Warrington, Hull KR, all through that period there. And we've just come off our first time this year, but we've won 5 in a row. So.
You've got a strong identity at Lee. Can I ask you, like, personally, what were your thoughts on the leopard print? I know, a little bit tongue-in-cheek and a bit of fun, but...
Yeah, I remember having a conversation with Derek when I first went there about it all, and again, there's another story in that. But
we've got to get up to Lee, haven't we? Get these stories out.
But
Terry.
You know, it was all... I remember the getting the training kit to wear the first time in Super League, and all the squad were like, "No way are we putting that on?" And it was like, and then once they all had it on, it actually looked quite good. Everyone was like, you know, it looks pretty good.
Was this the red nipples version? Was that one?
And then before you know it, you know, we're turning up at Wembley for the Chance Cup final, and every single person, man, child, woman, daughter, have all got leopard print on, and I'm standing there thinking,
genius.
This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable, and we've just run with it, and it's been such a great journey. Like what we've done as a group, but collectively as a business, when you look at corporate, that's gone up massive with money coming into sponsors, home crowds, sold out, membership numbers, where we finish on the table. As a conglomerate, it's been massive, and I've loved every moment of it. And I'm hoping that the best times are still ahead.
And surely the players are just thriving off that atmosphere at the Leigh Sports Village now. It's crazy, isn't it? The pyro, the party that's going on at Leigh. It gets bigger every time I turn the TV on. There's a
smoke bubbles now.
Smoke bubbles, yeah.
Yeah, well, I leave the dressing room a couple of minutes earlier than normal now, just so I can see the fireworks and everything. Honestly, because I sit back and I think if the players could see this, they'd appreciate it, because it's about them, And like I drive to the games now, and I get there, and the buzz outside of the stadium before you get in is incredible. It's like an event, and the Leigh fans who've never had such a great time with their team in the last 50 years, it's something to go to work for, to come home and look forward to on the weekends, where they can take a mate, go down, drink at the local pub, pop into the game there, enjoy, the team that is usually winning, and then wake up and go do it all again. So, but there's, it's an event. You get there and there's so much going on outside of it. There's roars of the leopards and mate. It's a great place to be at on game day.
Can I just if you could leave us with this? So we was fortunate, but very privileged to have a look around your changing room ahead of the Wakefield game right at the start of the season. And we saw the little notes and the quotes that the players had put around the changing rooms. And I wonder if you have a favourite quote that you wouldn't mind sharing with us.
And who's got the worst?
Well, we saw the worst.
We saw the worst, didn't we?
It changes all the time. But I'm big on like positive affirmations. I'm really big on that. I feel that we don't. It's an area that isn't really touched on in rugby league. It's more about mindset, but what is it actually? So I drive a lot of that. I'll probably keep that close to myself, really, the positive sides of that stuff. But I appreciate that you noticed that, because I walk around and read them, because they align to something in particular. So we have a yearly theme, and sometimes the way that the season's broken up is reflected to what that should be fed back. So there's reasons behind what's said for that part of that season. So there's, whether it's the first quarter of the season, there'll be a theme to it. So it changes every quarter, or every depends, because we have certain KPIs that we've got to hit, as in winning games and matches as well. So it's all relevant to that.
It might be a bit stereotypical, but is that a bit of PNG? Is the spiritual side of things?
No, not really. It's probably just about as a player, I felt that I didn't, looking back, I didn't get taught certain things about mindset and the way that you're thinking. What am I thinking? What should I be thinking? Sort of mentality. So I try to impose a little bit of that onto them as education, so that when the big games come around, it's not a big game. It's like business as usual. So if the mindset shouldn't change depending on what that game is, whether it's a game to keep you in the top four, or whether it's a game that it's midway through the season, or a quarter final like this week. The week to week mentality education is around making them understand that, so when it gets to the quarterfinals like this Friday, that's already in the bank, and it's not a like, don't get nervous this week. It's all building to a point.
Because you're talking about reducing emotion, aren't you? And because we do stupid things with emotions involved, and so I can completely understand that.
Well, I think if you've played any sport whatsoever, and you're in a big moment, it can get a hold of you if you don't control your emotions. So, but on top of that too, if you, it's like a muscle. Your mindset or emotions. If you train it, the more you train it, the better you get. So that's what that's related to.
Brilliant,
Adrian. It's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Having you on.
Guys.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
No problem. Anytime.
Welcome
to Leigh.
Yeah. Well, we'll take you up on that because I've really enjoyed chatting to you. Thank you.
All right, guys.
Okay, moving into the front row then. Kicking off, Mike McMeekin selected there, the front row.
Yeah, every Wakefield fan that was on our comments list said, "Why haven't you got Mike McMeekin?" And I was like,
good one.
Maybe we might have made a bit of a boo-boo there.
First of all, how does it feel to be part of the Dream Team 2025?
Yeah, it's a real privilege and an honour to be a part of it. There's some great names in this room right now, so to be a part of it, it's a real special feeling.
You're one of what we call the outsiders. So traditionally, you're from outside the heartlands.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your introduction into rugby league a little bit, and then obviously finding yourself here now at the top of the table, in the Dream Team.
Yeah, it's probably something that I've probably as I've got older in my career, and it's something that I've looked back on is where I've come from in terms of really outside of rugby league heartlands. I come from a small town called Fleet in a county, Hampshire. So rugby league is few and far between. People know what it is, and it's a big rugby union. People support rugby union teams around there, and football and golf, play sports like that. So to come where I've come from and to achieve it, I look back quite fondly on it. You could say the introduction is from my family. My parents are from Crewe, Nantwich way, over northwest, so there's a bit of a background to rugby league in there. And as I got older, it was kind of London Broncos were around, and I was playing rugby union for a fair bit, and then turned out to be rugby league was the way to go.
Is there any particular person in your life back then that really drew you towards rugby league?
My brother mostly. He's 8 years older than me, so he was in the rugby, the London Broncos reserve team at the time, and they were training down at Brunel University, and he'd noticed there was a amateur rugby league team, which is quite rare because around that time maybe 4 or 5 amateur rugby league teams, and I was only 10 at the time, and it was under 13s team, so I couldn't officially play till I got to 11. But I went down there and just trained with them, and it wasn't particularly structured or anything like that. It was just about having fun, and then we went on the weekend and just played, and then I just really enjoyed the speed and the skill of the game, and it just kind of drew me towards more that side rather than union.
Because you made a move to Wakey for this season. Obviously, they got promoted to Super League this season. Have done some incredible stuff. Talk to me a little bit about the team spirit and can you feel Wakefield on the rise?
Yeah, for sure. I noticed it as soon as I first day I came in for pre-season. I'd come in for just like a bit of a meeting to introduce myself. Powley wanted me in just to see the place and see what the boys were doing during pre-season, because I'd been involved with England, so I had a couple more weeks off. But when I got in there, it was just there was such that good connection. We have a team room upstairs. Everyone was there. There was no cliques or anything like that. Everyone was just getting along, and you could just see everyone enjoying each other's company. And you could say that about most teams, but there are teams that don't necessarily have that connection. I could kind of feel it when you move in the room, and it shows this year, I think.
What's it like being in a Darryl Powell coach side then compared to some other teams that you've been in before? Yeah,
I mean, I'm incredibly lucky that I've had some great coaches over my career. Powley, obviously, at Cass, and then I moved over to work with Steve, who was an incredible coach as well. But this year it's been awesome. We've gone about our business kind of under the radar a bit at the start. People wrote us off, I think, but we didn't really pay attention to it. We just kind of wanted to go about it and play the way that we know we can play, and there was kind of just a bit of a shackles off, really.
What's his coaching style like, though? If you've had a bad game, is he going to let you know, or is he? Is it very much video sessions? And
that's the thing. I think as a great coach, there's players you can go after and say, look, that's rubbish. You've done that wrong. You need to be better than that. Or there's players that need an arm around the shoulder. And I think it's knowing your team, and as players as well in a group, we know what players need what. So we know we can't spray one player, but then we can spray another because he'll take it a bit better. Yeah. So I think it's just understanding your team, and there's a lot of video that we go through. We'll watch the team that we're going to play, we'll analyse them, and then after it we'll review what we did right and what we could do for next week.
Well, one of the players we've been watching and loving watching was Caius Fartili. What's it been like playing with him? And You know when you do your training drills and that,
Yeah.
like how much pace has he actually got? Because he looks like he's got a set of wheels on it.
I know. He's deceivingly quick, isn't he? I think when he first came, everyone could see like, oh, he's a big unit. He's got that footwork, and then as he's gradually found his feet, and I think he's found his feet really quick. You know, you're talking. He's come over. He's only 23, which is quite scary. And he's come over and he's found his feet. He's got his match fitness right, and then now he's playing big minutes for us. And in training, he just changed direction. It's really good to watch, and you can see in the games how he just implements it into the games.
Might be a bit of an obvious question, this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Have you had one eye on the Ashes at all this year? Has it been at the back of your mind?
Yeah, I think it's always, you're always like looking at it because it's such a big event that you want to be a part of. We've had meetings throughout the year with England, with Sean Wayne and the playing group. That I think it's 30-man squad, I think it is. So we've had interactions as a group and reviews of our games as well. So we know where we stand in terms of what Wayne wants from us and where we think we can improve. I've had an eye on it. You could say yes, but also the games have been that intense this year that you're kind of 100% focused on them as well. So we've had no respite away from them. So we'll kind of get to that once this exciting time of the playoffs is over.
Mike, last question from me. If Mike McMeekan didn't win, get into the dream team, what other front rower do you think should have been in the team from your point of view?
I'd probably I think Caius would be a shout. I think Owen Trout at Lee, he's been really good, and Matty Lee's, they're just top front rows. I think Owen Trout has been a real standout this year, and Matty Lee's effort is always, watch him as a player, he's really good to watch.
Mike, been great talking to you. Have you got a final question?
Just final question. Just wanted to get your thoughts on, obviously, the big game coming up this weekend.
Yeah.
What's the mood in the camp? Are you all excited? Do you feel? I kind of feel like with Wakefield, it's kind of a free hit for you guys.
Yeah. Well, we've. Well, Matt, our owner, he's had a smile on his face ever since Thursday night, wasn't it? So we saw him on Friday, he had a massive smile on his face. What they've done for the club has been massive, and we wouldn't be where we are without them. But yeah, the mood in camp is really good. Everyone's positive. Like you say, there's a bit of we've got no pressure on us. We're going out there to enjoy. And I've always told the boys, these are the games that we want to be involved in. This is what we play throughout the years. This is why, we put in the hard yards in pre-season. It's cold mornings, long days. Playoffs is what you want to be about. You want to be, end of the day, in October, you want to be playing at Old Trafford. So, we're going out there, we're just going out there to enjoy ourselves, and that's when we play our best rugby, really.
Well, best of luck for it, Mike, and thanks for talking to us today.
Thanks a lot, Mike. Cheers, mate. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, great, wasn't it? Great to have him on.
A true outsider.
I was just about to say, true outsider on the show. He ticks all the boxes for the Rugby League outsiders, and just really humble guy, honest speaking. Great season, and he was in the dream team years ago as well, wasn't he? So just shows what a lot of hard work can do. He's just kept at it year after year and rightly earned his spot in the dream team.
Another exciting player, obviously number 9 went to Jez Litten. We saw that a mile off, didn't we?
Yeah, so by far the best hooker in the competition this year. And actually, if you look at all the pundits and everybody's dream team, there might be some variations along the way, but everybody has had Jez Litten at number 9.
Yeah, and we called with him, so let's check in with Jez now. Jez, thanks for taking a bit of time to chat to us today. First of all, congratulations on being selected for the dream team. What does it mean to you?
Yeah, it's an honour to be in this team, especially with 3 other lads from OKR. So yeah, proud to be in the team, and proud that some of our boys have got some good recognition as well.
So I want to learn a little bit about the culture at Hull KR. What's it like? You've been backstage, in the changing rooms. What's the culture? What's the DNA of a Hull KR side?
I think obviously in the changing rooms, you have a laugh, and there's boys doing different things, and it's just fun really with a group of mates. Like I can imagine other teams, but when it's time to work, we work, and we have some standards what the coaches have set out and what we want to do as a team. And I think we go after doing that every week, and we've got players like Dino who drive them standards, and we've got good leaders in our team who drive hard work. So yeah, so we have a laugh in the changing rooms, and when it's time to work, we work.
Can I just take you back? There was a moment in the season, from an outsider's point of view, where Mickey Mack, so you had this dynamic going on where Mickey Mack would start the games, he'd then come in, you know what I mean, inject some pace. He then got injured. What was going on in your mind there? And was there a mental shift to think, I need to change my game slightly here? Or you know, what went down there?
I mean, I've played that starting role before, so I'm sort of used to it. But yeah, a little bit. I mean, Mickey Mack's the toughest player ever, isn't he? And I've learned so much off him just being with him for a year. Just his standards and habits, and especially in his defence. I've just spoke about how consistent he is with them, and his messages, what he says, and everything he says he does. So I think when he was out, I was just trying to take on his role and just do him proud, really. The way he was starting games for us and going after it in his defence, I didn't want to come in and let the boys down and let the hard work he was doing start the games down. So yeah, just to focus on that really, and still bring that attack into it, what I feel like my strengths are.
Do you like playing the full 80, or are you one of these players who likes to give it 15, 20 minutes and come and inject some pace into the game?
No, I like, well, to be fair, start of the year I didn't mind coming off the bench, and then when I was starting games I was like, I can just play the full game if I need to. So I feel like I'm balanced where I can do both. But yeah, I've enjoyed my role in the team, but when Mickey comes in, he plays that first 20, I'll be happy to do that as well, and it'd be good to have him back if we can get him back for the semi.
I'm just wondering, like, in terms like the Craven Park, right? Like it just seems to be like getting busier and busier, and more people there. You know what I mean? Do you feel that? What?
Sold out every week.
Yeah, we sold out every week. It's sold. You know what I mean? Did you feel that on the pitch?
They're putting a new stand up every season.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's a great atmosphere for fans as well. It's a good day out. I mean, they've got the Craven Street at the back with bars and food stalls, and I have mates that go just for a beer and music, and I don't think some of them are too thingy about the rugby, but I think when we try and play well and winning games, it's just a good atmosphere to be around. And I think when we turn up there and there's the atmosphere and the fans are cheering, it's unbelievable, and we're lucky enough to do that every other week. And yeah, you just saw it the week gone when we won the league leaders was unreal. So I know they'll be firing for a home semi, and I can't wait for that.
Can I just talk about that game? Seemed to be a lot of nerves around that game. Did you guys feel that? It felt like it didn't quite play a natural style that, you know, what we've witnessed this year.
I think a couple of mistakes in there, but I think a bit of adversity, and we reacted well. I think the week before we didn't. It sort of snowballed, and we let Wakey run away with the game. But to start like we did, I think they hit 2 40-20s and then a few drop balls, and they'd scored, and we managed to claw ourselves back in the game. But I think a game like that's always going to be tough. We haven't won the league for how long, but yeah, proud to do it, and a good week off with the boys now, and chance to improve on the stuff we need to improve on, and then next week we'll be firing to go.
Can we just talk about that week off?
Yeah,
and we had a bit of a debate before, whereas, like, you know, does it suit some players? Do people like a bit of a rest? Do people just want to keep the foot on the gas and just keep going? And personally for you, what's your preference?
I think we had it last year, and it worked. We won our semi and got to the grand final. So I think either way, I mean, this stage of the season, if we had to play this week, the boys would be firing to go. If you're not firing to go for a playoff knockout game, then I think you're playing the wrong sport. So I think either way would be all right, but I think we're lucky enough to have a few training sessions, get what we need to right, watch these other great teams go at it this week, and then play what we need to play next week.
Jez, if you look back through the season, what's been your moment of the season?
I think obviously winning the Challenge Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just unreal. I think in the season, in the league, we had a great win at Wigan away, which was good. I think we took like 3,000 fans. You speak about the fans what we have at home, but to go there and to run out and see it sold out and to get the win for them was unreal. So yeah, that was great, and obviously the Challenge Cup was just unbelievable. But I think we're a team where we're looking forward, so we've won the Challenge Cup, and that's sort of been put to bed now, and there's the trophy over there, which I won't mind lifting, but obviously we've got a massive game next week against whoever we play. They're all at form at the right time of the year, so it's going to be a tough game.
Jez, imagine you didn't get selected for the dream team in the hooking position. Like, who do you think would have picked up the award?
I
appreciate that's probably a tough question, because it's like picking your favourite kid or whatever, isn't it?
I think we're lucky in the league where we've got a lot of dummy halves who are unreal. I think they've all hit form at different parts of the year. So yeah, it's a tough one to call. Obviously, the obvious one would be Pape, who's been good this year, but I think there's been so much. There's been the Wakefield hookers have been good. Brad O'Neill's been good. I think you can call every team. Daz Clark. I think every team's got a good hooker who can guard it. And Jared O'Connor's defensive work at Leeds. I think most teams have had a good hooker who's had a good season, but everyone's hit peaks at different points, and you have them bumps in the year where you maybe have a dip in form, and I have myself as well. So I feel grateful to be in this team when there's a lot of talented hookers in the league.
Just a little bit tongue-in-cheek, what's a Pape tackle? What does it feel like? Is it the biggest hitter in the league, do you think?
I think so. I think he's got shoulders like one of them posts. But now there's other dummy halves, so like Brad O'Neill at Wigan, he's a real tough kid as well. But Pape's caught a few of the boys with some good ones. I think I've been lucky enough at this point to dodge him. But yeah, he's a good player, but a lot of players in the league are. And I think you've got to be tough to be a hooker in the middle of the park, and especially when you're playing against some of these big boys. So yeah, full credit to the Hookers Union.
Last sort of question: what would it mean to you to make that England side for the Ashes this year?
I think the pinnacle of everything is to represent your country, and I love my country. I'm proud to be English, and yeah, just to be in the squad's good, and to put myself in that conversation. Like I said, there's 3 other dummy halves who are in the squad who are top players as well. So yeah, I've just got to focus on playing well for Hull KR, and I can put myself in the conversation, and yeah, it'd be a dream come true, but obviously there's a long way to go yet.
Jez, thanks for talking to us today. We've enjoyed watching you all season. You know, we've taken a lot from your game there, so really privileged to speak to you today, and well done on picking up the dream team selection.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cheers. Cheers, mate.
Also on the front row, we got Herman SAS, who we said 100% should have his spot there, so he turned up in a boot, Cal.
Mate, do you know when I saw him, I was like, that is the biggest... he's clearly fractured his foot or something like that. That is the biggest boot I've ever seen. And these guys are big when you see him on the pitch. I stood next to him today, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, you just don't want him running at you, do you?
No. Like, can you imagine him running it like some of the halfbacks in the league?
Well, imagine the physics involved in a Herman SASA and a Sam Lissoni collision. The physics, just blows your mind there. So, deserved. Dean Hadley, which, at second row, definitely deserves that. Hull KR really forged himself into a starting player, 80-minute player.
Yeah, another person who's just kept at it year after year, hasn't he? And we did speak to him, and he was just really honest, wasn't he? He wasn't always a starting player, and he's just worked hard at his career, and he's getting the just rewards now. And obviously, Hull KR deservedly the most players in this dream team.
Radin, first of all, congratulations on your selection for the dream team. Did you think back to the start of the season? Do you think you'd be sat here right now?
Yeah, maybe not. I've always had confidence in myself and, my ability, but yeah, obviously, to be part of a Super League dream team, there's quality players right across the competition, and to get it, I'm really proud, personally. It's a real honour to be here today, and just really proud of myself.
Well, what aspects of your game do you think's got you here? What are your strengths?
My strengths are my consistency. I really pride myself on my defence and sort of the effort areas of the game. Maybe not the flashy stuff, the stuff that stands out. And, for me, it's, that ability to sort of play big minutes every week. I love playing 80 minutes in the middle and just, grafting away and just getting stuck in, really. And, for me personally, these last few years, I've sort of grown and improved every year. And that's on the back of being injury-free and, just playing every week, really.
We were speaking on the way up, actually. We was trying to think back about over your career, and you've not always been a sort of starting player in the side, have you? So talk to me about what Willie Peters has done to sort of improve your game and just make you that... You're an 80-minute player now, aren't you?
Yeah, obviously I started at Hull FC, and I was there a long time. Fair signed as a kid, 10, 11-year-old kid, and right through the system. But I didn't quite manage to sort of get a spot in the team, playing every week. I managed to play a lot of games there. I think I played about 90 games, but without ever cementing a starting role, or when I was playing, it was maybe 20, 30 minutes. And for me as a player, that's you're never going to see the best of me. when I'm only playing that amount. So I made the move to LKR, and that's really suited me. I've played every single week, and these last few years since Willie's come in, I've gone to another level really, just in terms of playing every week and just people being able to see the best of me and what type of player I am.
Can you just take me to the moment where, so you mentioned there, this probably wasn't on your radar. Take me to the moment when you found out you've been selected for the dream team. What went through you? What was you doing? How did you get the news, and what went through your head?
Yeah, I was at home, obviously with the two kids, and Willie rang me and just said, "I got some good news." At first, normally when he rang me last time, it was to do about a new deal. So I thought it can't be another new deal because I'd only just signed one a couple of weeks ago. And then he obviously just said about good news. You've made the dream team. So a bit taken back really, a bit of a shock. Wasn't expecting it. Like I say, there's some quality play. Even in our team, people like Batch and Mini. Really proud, like I say, really proud to have made the team. But I guess what it does, it gives you a taste of wanting more, really. So, for me, I'm just hungry to keep improving and achieving more, really.
Well, what's not being said there is obviously England, and the potential there to put on an international shirt. How excited would you be for that?
I'd love it. You ask any player, playing for your country, playing for England in an Ashes. It'd be unbelievable. It'd be the biggest achievement you could achieve, really. I'd love to, but I guess it's kind of out of my control, really. It's obviously, Sean Wayne's team, and sort of he picks. It's up to him who he picks, really. The only thing I can control is sort of how I perform, and I've got an opportunity these, hopefully next 2 games to sort of showcase my best ability, really, and that's all I can do. Yeah.
So last year didn't quite get it over the line with the grand final. This year you've won the Challenge Cup. Do you think you've got the taste now of what it takes to, on the big stage, get it over the line?
Yeah, I think so. It's been a bit of a process at LKR. From when I first came, me and Jez, we was in a relegation battle, and you fast forward a few years, we sort of made a couple of semi-finals back to back, and then we made a final, and like I said, touched on last year, it was real disappointing, but for us as a club, to obviously get to the grand final, it's a good achievement from where we was, but like I say, this year's really given us a taste. Winning obviously 2 trophies already is, it gives you that taste, gives you that, makes you hungry to go and achieve more, and the Wembley weekend was, it was an unbelievable few days, and we want to go and do it again, really. So, that's the aim, that's the goal, but, we know it's going to be difficult as well.
Going to ask you a little bit of a fun question. Obviously, you're talking about taste and hunger and that kind of stuff. Chip spice, yes or no?
Yeah, very much a yes.
Yeah, big fan of that.
You tried it?
Yeah, we've had it. Yeah, we did a little trip to Hull FC, and we did the old chip spice thing. Which,
funnily enough, mate, we got more comments on our YouTube channel about chip spice when we were going than we did about the actual game, which was usually crazy.
Right, Dean, thank you for taking time to speak to us today, and congratulations on your selection to the Dream Team for this year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
Right, no surprise, we also had James McDonald, second row as well, and Morgan Knowles, which we both chose, and they picked up the accolades this week as well.
Yes, just 2 Leeds players in there. James McDonald, he's still a young lad, isn't he? I noticed that when I was looking at him. He's a really young lad, so if he's in the Dream Team now, if you think about like the England team of the future, we've often spoke about the England team of the future. He's forged himself into that dream team at such a young age. That's such a positive for future England teams.
Something else that's positive is 10 out of the 13 players on this dream team are British players. So that's pretty incredible, isn't it? When you consider the imports, let's say the foreign imports into the British game.
Yeah, and that's going up next year, isn't it? Certainly the
number of
the quotas going up, isn't it? So I suppose it's a massive positive for the sport, and a massive positive for international rugby. I think it shows that we're creating great British players.
Right, Carl, we're literally getting booted out here now. So what a day!
Last orders at the bar, this, isn't it?
Yeah, what a set of players. Who have you enjoyed talking to most?
I really enjoyed speaking to Adrian Lamb.
Yeah.
I thought he spoke with so much passion, and the stories that he told, I thought were incredible.
Yeah, I got to agree with that.
You're gone?
I love talking to Jake. I think, took
a bit of warming up, Jake.
Oh,
didn't he? I knew he'd be like that.
Hates the media, you can see that. Right, so we're going to finish up now. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next show.